off it. I think most of his matchups are really good. Whereas when this hero falls behind, it has a tendency to become a liability. So let's see if Whisper for EG can have a good start. And on the other side, Talon, I think they just need time, right? Their support do a Pugna Coddle, not too much playmaking, but a little bit on the slower side, playing together with Magnus. So for them, I'm looking for Mikoto to really take some action from mid.
And winner of this series faces off against OG tomorrow. And I mean, looking at this game, I mean, did you have a favorite going into the series before the drafts came to be?
I think it's really close. I mean, EG looked really great against Shopify Rebellion. That was a very one-sided series, so I feel like they've leveled up a little bit over the last couple days. But so have Talon. I just think the level of play now is rising quite significantly, and it makes sense. Now the teams are getting more adjusted to the metagame, to the itemization and everything. So you would expect it to get a little bit more streamlined.
A battle for the Southern Rune is upon us. Big blinding light comes out. Q will be able to take that relatively easily. And most of the damage applied to EG on this side. But yeah, both teams coming into the playoffs, they were kind of lower end of their groups. Barely making it in some cases, but they are definitely starting to get more acclimated to the patch and to the meta. Of course, it does help being able to survive and then copy teams that are doing better than you, right? I mean, even Team Liquid has been struggling a bit, so no shame at all.
Yep. Stealing strats in Dota is a viable strat in itself.
That's
so
right.
it's allowed. It's not frowned upon. You can't own a hero. You wouldn't download a hero.
If you're Kunkka, you can, because it was literally named after him. That's another story.
That is true.
So Underlord versus the Void Spirit, not a matchup we get to see all too often. And I assume that this is just going to be mostly a farm fest for the first few minutes.
Yeah.
How much kill potential do you see actually happening in this lane?
Nothing without support rotation.
Nothing.
It's like, how is either of these heroes going to kill the other, right? Like, Underlord can throw down a Firestorm and attack a couple of times. I will say, though, I think, theoretically speaking, this is a very Underlord-favored lane, though, but he's not going to win by killing his opponent. He's just going to win on last-hit damage. See, the Underlord is always, in most melee versus melee matchups, he's just going to rack up the Atrophy Aura damage, and then he's going to deny. On top of that, he obviously has the negative aura for the opponent, so Mikoto will be relying a lot on CSing with Resonant Pulse. Should be okay here on Q.
Okay,
maybe
Paz
not.
Wants to go in deep, but the blinding light from Q should be enough to
yes, Tango. Okay.
get that gap there.
Yep.
They'll live through the time dilation.
And as they mentioned, I believe they mentioned this on panel, Illuminate is a very special spell because it has a hidden secondary component called Release, I believe. So when you get time dilated, it actually gives you 2 stacks when Illuminate's on cooldown. Regardless of whether you're in Spirit form or not. So, not really going to be the biggest of deals up here because I don't think realistically you're going to see Q skill Illuminate until level 4. Most coddles we've seen have gone 0-1, or in some cases 0-1-2 if they're playing with a laner that really benefits from Chakra. But the thing in this lane is, if you're playing a spam strategy with Magnus, every level 2 shockwave he throws on the Void, he's just going to time walk and negate a ton of the damage. So it's a lot of merit to this pick from Pakaz. First of all, the laning stage should be easy against Mag, and secondly, you're one of the carries that can survive RP. If you don't get burst 100 to 0, you get to reset position and health, and you can fight straight back. But so far, the early stage is going well for Talon, especially.
What do you think about Void in this patch in the late game? Because we've seen it in like a lot of the past patches as well. Has anything changed, or is he still the absolute beast from the past?
He's definitely a beastly late gamer. The challenge is to get there, because a lot of the games we've had in this tournament have been pretty short. They've been largely determined around the 20 to 30 minute mark, and a lot of the games that we see Void become God mode and go beyond that. It's like 45 plus when he really starts just solo killing cores. Quite a bit to go for that. But with that said, Talon, I want to say, is one of the slowest teams of the tournament, right? Like, their games have a tendency to go pretty late. So just on a team versus team matchup, this hero makes a lot of sense against this squad. The other day for Survival, we saw Talon beat PSG LGD in a 70-minute game. One of the longest we've had.
And even though this is a very small thing, but we've been seeing teams become a little bit more acclimated to the patch like we talked about. Both of the Lotuses went to the side of Talon, so on top of that for now, how much of an impact that could have. I'm very sad to say that we have not seen a block of cheese the entire event, at least not that I've seen personally. Because it's very hard to create such a divine snack, if you will.
Divine snack.
Yes, delicious.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, we did the math on it, right? It takes 27 minutes of collecting flowers, and you don't get to smell them. You just have to store them away.
Yeah. It's a good idea, but maybe it needs a little bit of a buff. We'll see.
Do you think you can make a recipe out of flowers and cheese in real life?
Sounds delicious to me.
Yeah, anything with cheese is good.
C-Smile 20-5 in the mid lane, and Makoto 17-2, so slight advantage going the way of EG as the water runes looks like they'll be traded. So nothing major in the mid lane, but I mean, talk to me about Underlord as just a general hero in the mid lane as Matthew. One more right click. Oh, pops that fairy fire at the last moment. Can't find the range, and he's going to take a little bit of damage.
There's a blood grenade to offer for Whisper here.
Yeah, he has 3 stacks of sticky napalm, but Whisper actually just stands his ground and dies. Ollie and 23 just barely survived, though.
Yeah, blood grenade would have not pushed that over the limit. Matthew could have helped out with that, so he had a little bit of extra in the tank, but this is what I was saying, like Bat Rider matchups against Terrorblade, very important how it goes in the first few waves. Terrorblade will always have CS advantage, he just has way more base damage. So if Bat Rider loses out on kills too, this is a very bad start in this lane for EG. Whisper is now about 1,000 behind the Terrorblade, and with Terrorblade just getting a little bit more in the way of defensive items, suddenly the kills don't exist anymore, and you just free farm, and eventually you can just transition into the jungle when you feel like it's time. And you see 23 already preparing here. He's going to buy the infused raindrops to block off Fade Bolt, and that together with a wand and potentially a running tango, and even on top of that, which might be one of the biggest changes for this lane dynamic, if you get Lotus on Terrorblade, it's really good against Bad.
Yeah, that's true. Ollie putting down the Nether Ward as Panda has come through the gate to try to gank here. 23 Savage, obviously a bit of difficult kill, but they have the burst damage with the Fade Bolt and the Firefly from Whisper. That should be enough. Maybe able to clean up Ollie as well, so a double kill for Whisper, which was much needed. Because like you said, he was off to a bit of a rough start.
Very, very good rotation from Panda. If they don't bring Whisper into this game, it's going to look rough. And would you look at that, he was top of the net worth for like a second. Now he is again. After being 1,000 behind Terrorblade, he now equalizes from those 2 kills. So obviously, ton of gold going his way. And with that experience closing in on level 5, which is a pretty meaningful breaking point for Bat. Every time Sticky Napalm levels up, your damage just increases meaningfully. He also gets Mana Boots now. Nice for Matthew too in the lane. To get more spam potential here. Keep laying on that pressure.
From the mid lane, I'm interested when C-Smile is going to make these transitions over because he is, we're going to see the Flame Break from Whisper. He's level 4 right now. Matthew, he's taking the brunt of the damage though from Ollie. But if they can get this kill on 23 Savage, it'll be all worth it. Whisper continuing on, 5 stacks of Sticky Napalm, and that is another kill for Whisper and another death for 23 Savage. Whisper, all right, they're going to clean it up with Makoto's transition. That's the first time he's left that mid lane.
Very greedy to go for that secondary kill. I think he should be happy to get the Terrorblade and just back off. His Firefly was running out. He was approaching the enemy tower. And that's just an easy TP and grab there for Makoto. We're seeing
some bashes right now. A lot of bashes, in fact. They want to make it. Oh, they actually cancel out the skewer. Nicely done from Panda.
Yeah, he's got
Do they have the
Vanguard,
damage?
though.
Illuminate coming in from Q. That'll...
Yeah, he's got Vanguard, though.
Yeah, he's invulnerable.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Do you know why?
He's Vanguard.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So something interesting that I've been noticing as well is that these players that pick universal damage heroes are going Bracer. This is no different. Makoto's getting a Bracer on the Void Spirit. We saw it in the previous series as well with Sumail on Mirana, as well as Nisha on Void Spirit in that game. They both went 1 Bracer, and then Sumail went into an Atos build, whereas the Void Spirit will often go Echo Saber into Deso, or some sort of assassination build with Dagon or Kaya Sanj, and a utility item. There's different ways of approaching this from Makoto here, because you're playing with a really significant single target physical damage carry. So that hero benefits if you go Desolator, the minus armor synergizes nicely, but too much of one thing can also be bad, in which case the enemy can really itemize effectively by buying Solar Crest, etc. So maybe you do go the magic route to mix things up.
Makoto getting a very nice arcane
Nice
rune.
and easy.
That is one thing that Talon have been, I don't know if they've really been controlling it per se, but Makoto has guessed right twice in a row. So C-Smile has yet to get a rune. As you can see, the first lasso of the game now in the top lane. Q getting burned down. Makoto's coming though. Good with that arcane rune activated, now trying to turn this around onto Whisper. There's the first RP of the game, and that's going to lead to the death of the Bat. So it's a 1-for-1, although C-Smile finally making his transition over. Yeah. Ollie with the heals from the high ground.
the dangerous ganking Underlord. He throws down a Firestorm, and then you run. Yeah, I mean,
that is the weird part about Underlord mid, but we'll be getting a lot of levels. There's the Astral Step onto Panda. Aether Remnant connects. Should lead to another kill for Makoto.
And unfortunately for Matthew in that situation, he had Spell Steal on cooldown after stealing Blinding Light, so he couldn't steal the RP. Jabs was protected from losing that spell there. I don't think they could have turned it around, but it could have turned into a potential future move. Obviously, the Rubik against Magnus matchup, a complete classic. But so far, Talon, top 3 net worth. Things are going very, very well for them. They're playing, as we said, a kind of greedy lineup where only the Void Spirit can be very active, but he's been covering his bases here, 2-0-2. Looking for more action up here with the Mag. Obviously, Vanguard Treads, as well as a Lotus, is very tanky.
Yeah, Makoto's going to initiate, and Q's on the back line, though, but Whisper's taking the brunt of the damage. He will be bursted down. There was a TP. I think it was just canceled out from EG. So Matthew might be in a bit of trouble if the Aether Remnant does connect here. Coming out, able to side... Nope. Actually finds the connection. Resonant Pulse to follow. Matthew just trying to stand his ground. He actually steals the life drain, but...
Oh, hello.
Okay, he will live! Oh, my God. All right. Nicely played.
All right, Makoto didn't want to dissimulate next to the tower there because he didn't have the Remnant, or rather the Astral Step, and he was worried about a potential counterplay.
Yeah.
So he played it safe, and sneaky little smoke there. It's not the biggest of deals, but it always makes for a good smile. At the end of the day, it's a support avoiding death, not the biggest of deals. And I guess at the same time for EG, they haven't really shown much. Or it's so early in the game that you're not going to run out of smokes, right? So burning this one to stay alive is not going to bite you, probably, in the next 10 minutes.
Yep, that is fair.
Bot tower will fall here.
Top net worth in the game, by the way, is Jabs on this Magnus, who talked about his items already. He's going to be going for the Echo Saber, so be pretty damn scary.
Yeah, as the panel said, this guy just doesn't like auras, which I think is appealing to a lot of the people in the audience. I've heard some people out of spite didn't buy BKB for years. Just didn't want to do what was good in the meta.
Is there a reason you're looking at me when you're saying that?
No, looking at you because I'm forced to be here with you right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Who else would I look at?
That's yourself in the mirror anytime you want.
If you bring me a mirror, I will gladly cast with that.
Sounds good. Midas online for Pakaz. So 11.5-minute Midas, not too shabby considering he went for the treads first. We haven't really seen anything from C-Smiley, and this is my question. I've been trying to get this out, but there's been so much action. The mid Underlord, when do you want to get... I mean, obviously he's missed out on a couple runes, which I assume would have led to a potential gank, but now he's just resigned to farming. He's going for this Atos first main item.
Yeah, this is kind of the only cost-efficient item Underlord can buy to be a playmaker. Because, yeah, you have Pit of Malice to set up your Firestorm, but it just doesn't last long enough. But with an Atos, you can, you have some decent synergies. You can set up a catch where Bat Rider can then connect with a Lasso, or you can pile spells on from a distance with Lich and Rubik. Also, C-Smile is currently rocking a haste run in the bottle, so if he wants to get something done, he can. Yeah. The question is, where do you want to strike, and where does your damage come from? Because you have a Carrier Void who went Midas. He hits like a wet noodle. So probably you want to pair up with Bat and have him bring the damage to the plays. Or if Rubik has a good spell steal, which currently is Empower level 4. Which
that is nice to have.
They are enjoying this on both the Underlord and the Void right now, that Matthew's running around with that. And I mean, if it does turn into a slow farm fest, this is one of those things that can equalize it quite a bit. You're offsetting that inherent advantage that Magnus lineups have, and your Void is now farming at a much, much faster pace. He's able to take these ancient stacks all of a sudden that he couldn't take before. So definitely enjoying some farm time with that. Curious what Pakaz is going to go. He's going Midas Maelstrom as standard, but after that we've seen different paths. We've seen paths that have to do with status resistance in the past. We have seen paths that are just BKB. We've seen stat-heavy builds like Scotty. This hero actually has a pretty interesting itemization tree. The upside to going Scotty is you enable yourself to go Refresher in your build because you have the mana pool. And that is probably going to be an item EG, I almost want to say need if they want to win the game. I think Refresher Void is something you have to have in the back of your mind as the carry already here, because it will be a long and slow game. So maybe the Scotty will be the item of choice after Maelstrom. Is that crazy?
Why not? We've seen crazier things at this tournament.
Jab's going to break the smoke here.
Yep, the Underlord Pit comes out. I don't think they have the damage to burst him through. He's already at half HP, though, as Matthew getting gone on from the sideline. That's going to be bursted down. He gets the shield up temporarily as Q. He's going to be the first to drop.
That's a good chain for... Oh, that was really unlucky.
We have the Chronosphere still available for Pakaz as the lasso finds Ollie. That'll be an easy cleanup for them, so that ends up being a 2 for nothing as Pakaz finally uses the Chronosphere, but it's on literally nobody but his teammate. It actually sets up Jabs' RP. Panda is donezo. Pakaz might have to rethink his priorities here as C-Smile will be skewered back into the tower and brought down to his knees. Sunder from 23 Savage. Pakaz has to be careful as Jabs, he's burning to the ground.
They're so
One more right click will
low.
do it. He will fall eventually. 23 Savage jumped in onto Pakaz. Is this enough to take him out? It is. Double kill for Whisper. Lots of kills all the way around. And somehow Pakaz lives throughout this fight.
Great fight. Everybody died. I love to see it. Pugna and
Buyback
Void
there
survive,
from the Coddle.
but a big win there overall for EG, of course. The carry stays alive. They get some very big kills. And yeah, as you pointed out, that was not a good chrono. That could have gone way better.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if he was trying to ensure the kill on Void Spirit, but they kind of already had it. Yeah, just a little bit off the mark there. We're going to see the replay here. I mean, this was a pretty long move, though, but... So
we'll see it.
Yeah, so maybe that was necessary.
He did get a kill with it.
Maybe it was necessary, but he clipped his Underlord with it, unfortunately, and really put C-Smile in an awkward spot. And this skewer just seals the deal here. Spell stealed in power again, though, but he died, so doesn't have it.
Keep in mind, like you said, neither teams have the auras. C-Smile will eventually get it as the mid Underlord, which that was going to be my next question. Is he actually going to itemize for the pipe and whatnot? He will be. And from Talon's side, it doesn't look like they're going to be going for anything like that. So you would think once that pipe is online for EG that despite having the Midas on the Void, they still might just want to fight.
Yeah, the pipe is relatively far away though, right? Like, he is going Crimson first on the Underlord, which...
Oh, he changed his mind.
I mean, it's debatable. He has committed now by buying the Vid booster. I guess if he wanted to keep his options open, he could have taken a different route, but... yeah. Is Crimson better? Is Pipe better? Kind of hard to say.
Just get both. Oh,
sure.
well.
I mean, I'm kind of with you, though. I personally think Pipe is better value here because of the way fights have been structured so far. Void Spirit does significant magical damage, and he's like hybrid. He also does physical, of course, but with his current items, it's definitely heavily magical, and you block out so much of Pugna and Coddle by getting the Pipe. But it does look like Crimson is the way for him to go here. Smoke up from EG, 3-man.
Not going to find anything initially.
Bad Rider with the Octarine Core, which now no longer gives cast range, of course, so not as cool on bad as it used to be, but the build-up feels really nice. And this hero is all about the cooldowns, so we've seen players prioritize this higher and higher. But that is part of why this hero is a weird offlaner for many teams to run, right? Is that whole aura aspect where if you buy auras on bat, you feel kind of weak because of your cooldowns, so...
Right.
EG opted for, if they do want to run this Whisper bat offlane, they have to have a mid-hero that fills that role in the team. So it's a very interesting take. I feel like no other teams have really run a mid-hero with auras that I can think of.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. Even if it has happened, it's in the minority of games for sure.
Pakaz will go BKB, not Scotty. So it was one or the other, probably. Upside to BKB is that you can't be offensively decrepified, and if Pugna does defensively decrepify, there's a lot of magic damage that goes through. No longer amplified, of course, as per this patch, but there's still plenty of magic damage where that came from Bat, Rubik, and Underlord, and even Lich sometimes, depending on the setup.
And Makoto on the Void Spirit. Obviously, we talked about the Echo Saber will be a BKB next. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of Echo Saber Desos. Not sure if that's what he's going to opt for.
Yeah, I don't know if BKB Void Spirit is the best here. Yeah.
They have the jump there. The start out with the Aether Remnant into the RP, and he is deleted.
Nicely executed.
Great setup from Talon.
Clean. They do have to use the RP for that, but that's just the nature of killing Void in this game. You have 2 stuns, you have Aether Remnant, and you have RP, and 1 isn't enough. So you have to burn them, but they don't settle. They're immediately going to look for more here.
Oh,
Smoke move mid.
Yep. And Matthew looks to be the recipient of this. Easy kill again for Talon, who will get this tier 1 tower as well. And we'll see in the next minute and a half if the team wants to take control of an area that a Tormentor resides in. As C-Smile is just like walking like really close to the enemy just constantly, and nobody wants to go for him. He's a tanky boy. Almost done with the Crimson, just a couple hundred away.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, we're in the Tormentor territory here very shortly. And it's been interesting to see throughout the tournament which teams prioritize that really highly. Some teams literally don't do it until 40 minutes, for example. Sometimes it's because the shards on their supports are maybe not that impactful. You know, just adding net worth, just to add net worth, which is not always good.
Always in trouble.
Lasso. Whisper should be able to clean him up, and he does.
Wouldn't think you could cook a skeleton, but apparently.
You can cook anything.
Well, he said Pugna got roasted, toasted, and burnt to a crisp, but I feel like he's already crisp.
Thanks, Cinderin. Always very literal and helpful in these
Helping
casts,
out,
as always, yeah.
Like some bad lore there. We need a different voice line for when he kills Pugna. Can we
Very important to add that to the list.
get on that? For no reason. Mid tower looks to be on the menu here for EG. Difficult to push into, though. You're playing against Caudle. You're playing against the potential threat of Escura into RP. If you have it perfectly timed, you know he doesn't have it yet, but only 10 seconds away from a reverse polarity, but they're fast enough. Underlord with the heavy-hitting Atrophy Aura will get that down, no problem.
That's interesting. You mentioned the Octarine doesn't combine into Aetherlines anymore, but Whisper, he just buys an Aetherline
Yeah, you
as
have
well.
to buy both.
So why not?
Yeah. I mean, have to is the wrong word, but Batrider wants both, so...
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And BKB is now online for jabs on the Magnus, and he's just going to finish up. I guess he can repurchase the Echo Saber and then turn that into a Harpoon. We've been seeing a lot of the Harpoon. Do you think that's enough? Like, you still need to go blink at some point, or is that enough gap close to be able to pull off your combo?
I feel like
it has been a crazy
you have
combo.
to buy Dagger on this hero at some point. I mean, I'm kind of okay with him not doing it yet because of the flow of the game, and Void Spirit is able to perform the primary catching role, but eventually you need to have the Dagger for the surprise jump, for the late game-winning fight moments.
Yeah, like the blink,
it's too hard to do.
The blink RPs on several heroes you're not going to get with Harpoon, right? Harpoon's very single target focused, but it does set up your Skewer nicely, so
yeah,
it makes sense that he is prioritizing that to some degree. But one of the coolest items for sure in this patch. All right, it's Tormentor time. Who will get the shard? And they actually align it nicely with the Wisdom Rune.
Yeah. Fortunately for Ramses, he's not in the arena right now, so unaffected.
Yep, very true.
He's probably in his practice room in the hotel, enjoying that top 3.
So you get the Ice Shire, as we like to call it. Pretty underrated shard, I would say.
Makes me laugh every time.
It happens.
Thanks for that.
I mean, I don't know if you'd rather have the Rubik one or the Lich one, actually.
Yeah, it's...
Both are quite good.
The Rubik one is really cool against... I mean, if you clutch it out, can you even save against Magnus? Probably not, right? I think Skewer overrides it.
That's a good question, actually.
So I guess the Lich one is probably...
It might be whatever's first. If you do it mid-Skewer, it should be.
Spire is amazing with Chrono, though. Because if you hit any Chrono on 1 or 2 heroes,
that's fair.
the Lich can just guarantee the bounces in there.
See Talon smoked up next to the gate, looking to set up a potential fight, and then into a Roche as EG are also going to smoke up.
Ourselves a schmuck, yep. Whisper's
BKB on
going
the
to
TV now. Makoto, his is going to pop. He's going to focus on Matthew, but the telekinesis instantly will be able to dissimulate away as Lasso comes out just in time on the Void Spirit. The Chronosphere onto 3 heroes. Do they have the follow-up damage? Firestorm's doing quite a bit, but 23 Savage pops his BKB. Very low HP, looking for a Sunder target. Finally gets one, but I think that was on a teammate. As Pakaz pops his BKB, the RP's going to be faked out. See Smile on the run now, as this was a 1-for-1 with buyback. That finally the RP comes out, and it is on the tanky Underlord, which they eventually take out. As 3 dead for EG. And the buyback's coming in from the Lich now. As Makoto, at half health, has that shield rune activated as well. He's getting burned to his crisp as well, but there's the healing coming out from Ollie. Is it enough to keep him alive? Another dissimulate onto the backside. Will stay alive as a result. Lotuses are available for 23 Savage, but he will actually channel them during this fight. And his meta's running out, so let's be a bit careful. The rest of EG still occupying this lane. They're not afraid.
That was a really great Chrono, but unfortunately for EG, Lich wasn't in range to get the combo off, and the Chrono expires, and then they pop the BKBs. So in reality, the Chain Frost was only hitting the Caudle. I mean, you still do some damage now, but it's not the full effect that you're looking for in that instance. The pairing there could have been crazy. I mean, there's some very clear, amazing synergy in EG's lineup. If they Chrono non-BKB heroes, they just have overwhelming damage with Firestorm and Chain Frost, but when those BKBs are popped, they do sustain through it, Talon do, and get a good fight out of that in the end. pretty even trade for the most part. No, neither carry died.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a stalemate.
Yep.
Still sticking around as well.
They do have the cooldowns on their side. They know RP is down, and obviously Batrider with the Octarine has lasso ready earlier. So EG would probably like to get another fight, but Talon isn't going to give it to them. You see the replay here. This Chrono really well placed, but look at Lich top right. Has to waddle all the way down to place the Spire, and there's the ice, the Chain Frost as BKBs are coming out. And at 23 did Sunder the Void. This is obviously an interesting change that happened in this patch with the change to debuff immunity. Is that you can Sunder an enemy, and you get their health, but they don't get yours. So he just healed on the Void effectively.
Which inherently was a huge buff to Terrible.
Yeah, for sure. Having that
That was the counter, like stun locking him, and then when he's about to be able to Sunder, you just pop your BKB and he can't do anything, which is no longer the case.
Just make sure you take damage while you kill him.
That's true, of course. Very important.
Huskar with BKB. There's the solution.
Oh, yeah.
Very good hero against Terrorblade, I've heard.
Well, Harpoon is now online for jabs. RP is available as well, as they are going to take the gate because Roche is about to waddle himself over to the other side.
Yeah, they're going to use this opportunity to smoke as well.
Here, boy. Let's go.
I don't know if they're trying to fake a Roche here against the side of EG and hoping that they bite, or if they're actually going to commit to just force the fight to happen. Oh, here he comes. Nah, they don't look too interested in pursuing it right now. They'll find Panda,
another ward down. Panda, he gets blown up.
Surprise. There's a ward. And I believe that was a dieback, right? Yes. So long death timer here, 53 seconds. 5v4. Talon know this, so might just go ahead and force it.
Yeah, perhaps. Into the Roche pit. Talon has gone. It'll be the first attempted Roche of the game. Question is, will EG be able to defend, or contest, rather? But looks like they are resigned to just giving it up. So 23 Savage, in all likelihood, will be able to pick up this Aegis, unless they deny it in epic fashion, of course. Always a classic for these big tournaments. And he will pick it up successfully.
The SEA Classic. Shout out to Orange Esports.
Way of Talon.
Oh man, one of the moments of all time.
That was a moment indeed.
Who knows what could have been at TI3.
All right, C-Smile actually still not going pipe. Finished the Crimson and is now going for Halberd. So he's able to get that off on the TB before the BKB comes out. Obviously extremely effective. And just the evasion alone. I mean, Terrorblade's not a hero that would necessarily want to buy MKB or anything like that, so a lot of extra EHP. Well,
by extension, this means they're not getting a pipe, though. So
yeah, that is
the Void has his BKB to protect himself a good amount. Lich is getting Glimmer. And there's a Force Staff on the way for Bat and in the bag of Rubik. So they have repositioning tools to try to get out of the spell burst from Pugna, Caudal, and Void Spirit. So we're seeing the shards here. Void bought his own.
Yeah, that's a good one. Has he the
walk back and forth.
Walk, which we've seen work out.
Pakaz very high level as well. Worth noting. The Midas, he's almost level 20.
That is
the enemy carry being level 15. Terrorblade will generally be under-leveled relative to his net worth because a lot of the farm comes from illusions around the map, but yeah, Void is always there for all of his experience, and with the Midas, he will now approach level 20 talent. Probably going to take the attack speed during Chronosphere, one would imagine.
Yeah,
standard talent chosen.
That is the most common
of the time.
pickup. 95 attack speed. That's a very random number.
It used to be 120.
Nice.
Got hit by the frog gun.
That extra 5, though, you don't want those even numbers. That's for sure. That would be too strong.
They ran the simulation, and this was the perfect number.
Well,
AI is here to save us.
Considering nobody takes the other talent, I don't know if that's actually true, you know? We have a lasso initiation. Ollie gets off the Glimmer Cape, but they're going to be able to dust him as C-Smile. He's taking a lot of damage from this Terrorblade. You can see the reverse timeout from Pakaz. Harpoon attempt from Jabs is not successful.
Really good psychic
C-Smile still getting pursued by Makoto, but his BKB is now going away. There's a heal coming out from Matthew on a C-Smile, so they're able to reset successfully as the Chronosphere finds one. It is the Caudal, which is an important kill. Actually, it was 2 with the Fat Magnus inside. BKB from Pakaz. RP still available, able to expend it onto this Void. Do they have enough damage to actually finish him off? And they do. He does have his buyback, as C-Smile did get off that Crimson Guard, which is why it's taking them so long to finish him off. But eventually they will. A big turnaround here from Talon, as the Chronosphere was actually pretty damn good. Almost caught 3 as 23 just on the outskirts.
It's such a big difference. If he clips the Terrorblade with that one as well, he doesn't end up dying there, because the Terrorblade was hitting him during the Chrono on the other 2, and that means that the RP from Magnus has him low enough to just barely get that kill. Just want to highlight how fast that Psychic Headband was from Whisper as well. This is something to look out for. The moment Magnus blinked in, or rather, yeah, he did blink in, I think. He just immediately got headbanded away and couldn't RP in the first place. All right, Lasso here.
23 Savage, he has Sunder, he has Aegis still.
This leads to absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so in the
end, it leads to a kill for the enemy team.
For no reason. And Matthew, okay, he stole Sunder. Makoto.
Okay.
He's gonna have to dissimulate away, has that shard for that extra ring.
Never mind. Nobody died.
Tier 2 tower does fall in the end. I mean, the Lasso doesn't feel that bad, low cooldown, especially with the Octarine in tow. Not the biggest of deals, as we're seeing a replay of the original fight here. And just being able to go in and out of the fight is very important for Pakaz with that shard. And there we see
Terrorblade. If Terrorblade doesn't have the... Okay, he gets Chrono toward the end there, right? If Terrorblade doesn't have the Dragonlance, he can't deal damage there.
Yeah.
So really, sometimes the 100 range is...
And that's where the reverse timeout can get you killed, and it literally did there, right? Like, you just feel a little bit too confident going in and out. The muscle memory failing you in the end. But
looking good for Talon now after that fight. Their Aegis is expiring in 30 seconds though, but I still think they can be in the driver's seat here and just really put on the pressure. RP will be coming off cooldown in 3 seconds. Yeah. Might go for a Blink Skewer.
Have it available. Scotty now online as well, as the Aegis is going to expire relatively shortly. So that is one thing to keep in mind.
Okay, so smoke into denying a Watcher.
Yep, that is a very important objective, of course, as we're approaching the 31-minute mark, so the Tormentor might be spawning relatively soon. Still waiting for that to be added to the UI, of course, and we should mention, I don't think Talon got their Tormentor at all, unless we missed it, which we have in the past.
Wait, did they not kill it a single time?
It doesn't show, like, it should say Tormentor version 2. It should say something. It was.
They have the Coddle shard. Did he buy his own? I'm pretty sure they killed it.
Okay, maybe they did.
I think they killed it.
Sure. All right, well, the Tormentor spawns for EG. So
Panda, don't die. Don't die now. Don't die now. Don't die now, Matthew. Oh my god.
My goodness.
They both almost died there.
All right,
Matthew can sunder his Underlord and get reported right now if he wants to.
Yeah. That's an instant.
That's what half the audience would do. Of course, don't blame you guys. It's hard being a support. You finally get to pretend to be carry by stealing Sunder and support and sundering your cores.
Yeah, on the big stage as well, so you don't really need Overwatch for that. I think we can all just collectively agree that that would be a ban. They smoke up, but not going to find anything initially. As a double damage spawns top, and Talon is going to be the first to spot it. And a Terrorblade with double damage is filthy, considering his high base damage. As you can see, the Void Spirit now with a Daedalus, so his Astral Steps will hurt. Actually, he's the one that pops the double or has the double damage.
Oh yeah,
so that
double damage
more
Daedalus and a power.
Initiation from Whisper.
Oh, the Sunder play.
The Sunder, yeah, he already has half HP. He's going to get the Skewer off in the meantime, and Whisper's going to get destroyed for his transgressions. And Matthew and company will have to back away. See if they can wait out this meta. As they can see the double damage is there from Makoto. Smile. Oh, the RP only finding one, but they still might be able to win this fight outright. 3 dead just like that in favor of Talon. Pakaz gets off the Chronosphere, but the Sunder from 23 Savage, saving his Magnus. Beautifully done as the Lich Chainfrost not doing as much as they would want. Pakaz, Nullifier applied to him, wants to continue to try to kill 23 Savage. Has to be careful though, because C-Smile in the area, gets off the Lotus, or the Atos, I should say, and 23 Savage is getting healed from inside the pit. Is this going to be enough to actually save him? Pakaz off to BKB, getting some bashes. 23 Savage is running for his life. Another bash is there. Jab finally getting in there. They do clean up the Terrorblade, but how much will it cost? Pakaz able to find another one for himself. Dissimulate from Makoto will keep him alive, and EG able to find something after basically getting team wiped. Unbelievable turnout from EG. If they didn't get that Terrorblade kill, my goodness, that would have been awful.
What a great fight from Ollie as well, though, on the Pugna. The fact that Terrorblade chase took like 20 seconds was ridiculous. Just, yep, it feels like, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, there's no way Pakaz isn't by Nullifier, right? He's had enough of that, so wants to find that solution. Yep, that cost them, was that an Underlord buyback and a Rubik buyback? I think so. So 2 buybacks on the side of EG, but they got some really valuable kills for it. This one in particular, obviously, will take a little while before he gets there. The TP attempt there. Did he cancel his TP? I think the play call there was to turn it right. He did cancel it, right? Nothing stopped him, I think. So maybe 23 could have got out.
Oh my goodness.
And then Jabs was like, you guys deserve it. You've worked so hard for this kill. Here you go.
Yeah, it's tough to say. He might have been able to finish it off regardless, but
yeah,
either way,
I think so.
Unfortunate for Talon. Looked like they were winning that fight pretty handily.
And now it's very close again, and we're approaching that late game portion when Void can start getting really scary, especially because his primary problem so far has been Decrepify, but he's going to be able to solve that himself in 1,000 gold with a Nullifier. Kind of pick your target. I'm trying to think of like where does he sit damage-wise right now? Who can he kill in a Chrono? He can definitely kill either support. He can probably kill the Void Spirit too during the Chrono with a little bit of help. I think the other 2 boys are a little bit too beefy, but obviously can rely on some nice backup from either a Firestorm or even just a little bit of damage from Rubik or Lich could push him just across the kill threshold of a Magnus or a Terrorblade, which would obviously be the biggest kill if they could find it.
Talon with the smoke, looking for an opening. Basically every spell at everyone's disposal now. Okay, they're going to skewer. Can't get the illusion. Fortunate. That's going to lead to a smoke from EG. Now that they know this is a thing. Nullifier online for the Void. Lots of nullifiers this game. 2. Quite a bit. 7K lead for Talon, but definitely not feeling too good after that last fight.
And it's all going to come down to who gets the initiation, right? If Bad Rider finds a good pick and Talon try to help and they set themselves up for a 2 or 3 man Chrono, the fight's just over on the spot, more or less. Got to be really, really careful about your positioning. And at the same time, EG need to not clump up for an RP. So both teams need to play angles, need to play range. There we see the skewer. This will start things off.
Yeah, they're going to start it out on the tankiest target. Nullifier applied to him. He's already at half health, though. Illuminate coming in as well. He actually gets deleted. 100 seconds down for Underlord. No follow-up from EG. Oh, now Whisper gets off the lasso onto the Void Spirit. There's a Sinister Gaze as well, and somehow they find Makoto after the fact. So a 1-for-1, very surprising turn of events after the initial Jabs initiation. Looking forward again, but not going to find it. Gem on the ground. Jabs will pick it up. Going to take a flame break for his troubles. Pakaz in and out.
This is starting to get awkward now for Talon because they're starting to get stickied up. Bad Rider with the gem flying around here as well. Keeps canceling Jab's Blink Dagger non-stop. But needs to be careful running into the enemy vision and will back off.
His meta's not going to last forever.
Yep.
There's a window on the time that they can fight. They do have the buyback on the Void Spirit while the Underlord does not have it for EG, so that is something also to keep in mind.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Occupying now the gate area as Roche is available for the taking. And knowing that meta is down, maybe this provides them opportunity to take the Roche for themselves.
And it's relatively risk-free for Pakaz, right? He has Satanic, and he has 20% backtrack talent. Now he reaches 25, so he can solo this slow and steady. He'll take slight bits of damage. That'll be quite a bit more when the Terrorblade Illusions start bothering him here.
Yep.
Walk in and out.
Gonna be pretty healthy.
They have Panda in range as well with the Glimmer Cape as well as Frost Shield.
The initiation onto the Terrorblade. Very, very good target to get if they can actually kill him, but Whisper dies instead. Pakaz a little bit late with the Chronosphere, and you can see the heals from the other side from Ollie, keeping the TB alive. Chain Frost comes out, doing a good amount of damage. As Ollie, he's going to turn his sights to death because Pakaz takes him out. And meanwhile, close to the gates, we're having a major fight as Whisper somehow able to live. Skewer not going to connect from Jabs. Has to kind of reset now. Gets Flame Break back into the Firestorm. Jabs will skewer away. Pakaz still wants to fight. Remember, Roche was not taken out yet. The Crimson Guard has popped and they're able to take out another member of Talon. And Makoto, he gets dropped to the deck. 80 seconds, but does have buyback. if they want to try and contest, knowing that this Bat Rider will not be back anytime soon. Blinding Light, forcing C-Smile away. 23 Savage uses his Sunder, now has the meta. Nullifier applied to C-Smile. There's the skewer back, not able to find the initial target, but they'll take C-Smile instead and be happy with it. And now maybe Talon can be the ones to take out Roche.
Yeah, they could ensure it definitely if they bought back Void Spirit now, but they might not even have to. Maybe they can still just cover it. These 3 heroes from EG don't have the best poke and the best way of getting information, so again, nice fight there from Talon. Trying to remember the whole fight. It feels like every fight this game lasts like 2 minutes. It's just too many things to go over, but at the end of the day, they do edge it out. And again, for me, it seems like the problem EG has is Pugna. Like, they just need to find and kill this guy. Ollie is doing incredible amounts of work from a distance, both him and the Coddle together. Buying time, blinding, healing, 4 staffs, Glimmer. Got to take it out of play if you're Pakaz. Going on this, I think the way EG entered that fight is just a little bit naive. I don't think you're going to kill Terrorblade like this as your primary target.
Another fight is Panda deleted right off the bat. Ollie able to survive despite having the nullifier applied to him. Matthew attempting to TP out will be successful. Well, only 1 dead in this little mini engagement as Pakaz now running away.
2 dead.
Well, the Underlord was already dead.
Pakaz killed the courier.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Actually 3. Ollie killed the sentry ward.
Thank you, Cinderin, for joining us.
Always helping out. So here you see the problem, right? There's these heals. There's the Coddle heal, there's the Pugna heal, and Pakaz is doing his damnedest here, but it's not even close. And now he's like, screw this, I'm going to go on the Pugna. I just think this is a little bit too late, and not the way you want to enter this fight. If you're EG, I think Terrorblade is literally your worst possible target because of the protection he has. You can go on the Magnus, you can go on any of the supports and start off the fight. I don't think you have to lasso cores in this game. You just want to start off the fight, get something rolling, the enemy team has to help, you set up your Chrono, you set up your Pit of Malice combo.
Yeah.
Whisper just needs to find any target that there's a true kill threat on, and things are going to be fine. But Talon get the, I want to say almost maximum value out of that fight. Now, with this Aegis in hand for another minute and a half, 3 minutes and a half rather.
Sheepstick is there, not able to get the skewer back though. A little bit late after the harpoon.
Maybe it's time to buy an Axe for Jabs. Get that horn toss.
I mean, that has not been super popular. The couple times we've seen it has been a bit underwhelming. But maybe
if this is your first time watching Dota since TI, TI-10 rather.
TI-10, yeah.
It is not what it used to be.
Yeah. Horribly nerfed, and then
maybe the best shard ever.
Oh, that's tough to say.
It was stupidly good.
It was. Okay, that's a hard one now. You're gonna make me really think about the most broken shards of all time.
A little bit of a pause here. Ready?
Ooh, Aghanim Scepter is there now for 23 Savage. So you get the Terror Wave. That is a very good spell. It gives you that temporary metamorphosis, but more importantly, the fear in an AoE.
A lot of the time we see this picked up after Swift Blink, but he's going to do it in this order. Usually the Swift Blink comes, or a lot of the time anyway, it comes first, and then you have the immediate value of that item, and then when you get the Terror Wave, you can blink behind enemy supports and just blast them.
Pakaz has found the RP, skewer back. Do they have the control? The fear as well? Aether Remnant, Pakaz gets the BKB off, and the Chronosphere on basically everybody. Do they have the damage to actually finish everybody off though? They get the Coddle, Makoto getting healed from the sideline, 23 Savage. He's getting finally the Sunder onto C-Smile, but he is still controlled horribly on the back line as Ollie getting cleaned up by Pakaz thanks to that nullifier. That is the Aegis down. EG. What a turnaround. Somehow Pakaz lives. They're going to get this easy cleanup kill now onto 23 Savage. And that is disastrous for Talon.
Shannon, I figured out Dota. Don't go on the carry. That's the recipe.
Goodness.
Both teams back-to-back with bad fights from opening on the carry. That's just too tanky. Pakaz, 3,500 health, and the backtrack talent. They just couldn't kill him.
Backtrack talent and Trickster Cloak.
Yep.
Those two made the difference, honestly.
He is stupidly tanky against this Terrorblade who has no True Strike. So,
and EG, we have 3 members of Talon that are dead without buyback, so this is going to be minimum 1 set of racks.
Yeah, fortunately for Talon, both their side lane tier 2s are still up.
Yeah, but they can just try to go for Throne. They're going to try and force it. They only get the tier 3, now going for the tier 4s without having a racks at all. Magnus, that is somebody you do have to be careful with. The skewer into Fountain is definitely real. And they're going to back off before that first tier 4 falls, so maybe they are going to be happy with just getting the set of racks in the mid lane.
This is a pretty clever tier 4 force because they accomplish two things. First of all, they get a read on enemy buyback status. And secondly, they have enough time that if one hero buys back, they can still get the same objective they would otherwise.
Right.
But now you, on top of it, got almost a tier 4 and a Magnus buyback. So really elegant play there from EG, losing absolutely nothing in the process and forcing a key hero buyback. Because if you kill Magnus at any point now, your Void is more or less invincible, right? Like, they have to have the RP and Hex to even touch this guy. And you see it wasn't enough this time around.
Yeah.
See the Pakaz camera shot, he looked extremely calm about the situation.
I'm not sure if it would have mattered, but he hexed into RP, didn't really layer it properly, technically speaking. I don't know if you have enough time, though.
Maybe if you do it.
But that's one of those, you have to do it perfectly layered to be able to get that kill.
Yeah. The issue is that you're spending more or less the entire Hex duration on setting him up for your team, but you can't really start with Blink, Hex, and have all your teammates in range.
That's true.
Because they don't all have Blinks. So, yeah, just tough.
Very difficult pick off, and I mean, that just shows how tanky the freaking Faceless Void is. As another Tormentor, number 3, goes down.
All right, more damage for the Underlord, more waves in the Firestorm. Faster Firestorm as well. Actually, pretty nice with Chrono to get the shard.
And we can see
you want to have that burst damage.
Now.
Yeah, there's the refresher, obviously enabled by the Skadi build. So Pakaz with more than enough mana will get rid of his boots. And the luxury that Void has is he obviously has a movement spell. And with the shard, your movement is longer on the time walk. So this hero easily plays without boots late game. Something other melee carries fall victim to is they kind of need Swift Blink to cover for the movement speed loss.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Faceless Void doesn't care. Like, you can literally just sell your boots and not even feel bad about it.
Oh, double damage bottom, by the way.
Look at that damage dealt. Faceless Void, top of the board. That's pretty rare. This hero isn't usually the big damage dealer. He's usually the setup. And obviously will do meaningful damage, but I don't know. Healing done. He's healed more than Pugna. Time Walk is a wonderful spell. Counts as healing on that graph. Don't worry, he's not playing Slasher's Way with 280 salves for his teammates.
I think that's Slack's way now, too. Cheese is still there for Talon. They're going to have it in the backpack of 23 Savage, which he has a Crystallis taking up a slot right now, so we'll be going for the eventual Silver Edge.
So him prioritizing Silver Edge over the Swift Blink really tells the story of how much trouble they're having with the backtrack, right? I think there's very few talents in the game that you can break, if even any other than this one. There's very few anyway. But backtrack can be broken. It's a leftover from an old spell. If you're a new player, this is not obvious whatsoever. You just need to find out by chance.
I genuinely forgot that you could break that.
You just Google and you're like, Void was level 30, what could I possibly have done? And you hope there's a forum thread from 4 years ago that says, by the way, Silver Edge works.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, there's been some patches, hope it still works. And you read the Silver Edge text and says absolutely nothing. And then that's why Dota's so beautiful. Burden of knowledge. You just got to know things. And fortunately, 23 Savage is a very experienced player, so he knows things. And he will buy this. Let's see if it's going to work out.
Wow, that was a long-winded way to say that it breaks his talent. Thank you, Cinder, and as always.
I get paid per word, actually,
apparently,
when I cast.
Jesus. 3K lead for Talon, but this could go any which way. I mean, I would think that EG might have a bit of a leg up considering they have the refresher. I mean, Chronosphere late game is just so hard to deal with.
That's a fast Tormentor
Talon,
right there.
Take out another Tormentor,
All right.
and that's
that
the
is the
Magnus.
Double Shockwave,
That's
not particularly good this game.
Yeah, that's the old Ags, but nerfed down a bit. Kind of haven't really seen too much of it, but not the biggest player for sure. And we'll see what EG are able to do as we won't know about the next Roche for another 2.5 minutes. Pakaz just making sure there's nothing in the pit. Left over there is like, whose Quelling Blade is that? I guess my items are probably a little bit better at this point.
Don't like littering. Someone should pick it up.
Delete it. Are they? I mean, Roche is not
nice.
even...
Pakaz with the... Oh, that's good. Wait, did he drop it again?
This is like almost max late Roche spawn. So they're actually obviously thinking that Roche could spawn right now, but we know that it is far, far away. But this might still lead to a fight because Talon are in the same predicament.
Yep. Smoked up, but very, very hesitant here. Trying to get some sort of information about the Roche status. Can't really get there, though, so more or less at the mercy of EG not going for it here.
And one big deal that, because of this late Roche, might actually help out Talon is they're the only, I mean, 2 of their cores don't have buyback, and they're the only heroes in the entire game without buyback.
And, dare I say, they have a cheese. So they could get the block of cheese. They're pretty close. They have 1 healing Lotus.
Right,
so 26 to go.
Yeah, good.
That's not true. That was wrong math. You know.
Yeah, I
know how
was
many
not
you
going to
need?
say anything. You need 18. They have 1.
That is correct.
Okay. That's easy math, I think.
17 to go. How many are bottom right? There's 3 bottom right.
Yeah.
And 1 top left, now taken by Panda.
I mean, this has the potential to go very late, especially since we're going to have 10 buybacks at some point before this next Roche, I assume.
Panda has 6 Lotuses, Shannon, so a third of the way.
Yeah, keep us updated.
He gave it away. Who did he give it to? Rubik. Nice little 900 burst heal and mana.
The question is,
use.
can EG drop a Lotus and Talon pick it up? It works for them, right? That could be used as part of the cheese. So maybe they could coordinate something to get the block of cheese, which everybody in the crowd wants to see.
Just what we need. More ways to grief.
Yeah.
That is... I don't know if it works, actually. I don't know if you get ownership.
It should work.
That's a good question. 25 here for Jabs, showcasing the Empower talent. It's either that or more stun on the RP.
Yeah, the RPs have been kind of hard to find.
I kind of feel like the RP talent might be better in this game. Like, even if it's just 0.8.
I mean, 0.8 in that last fight against the Void,
it would have been enough. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, sometimes a second is everything. And 10% empower damage and cleave is obviously also, you know, make the kill easier, but I don't know if it compensates for a full 0.8 seconds there.
BKB already activated. Jabs uses the RP on just the Rubik, but there's a Chronosphere coming in from Pakaz on the 2 heroes. Fear's not going to do anything from 23 Savage. He walks into the Chronosphere. Finally gets off his meta. Nullifier applied to Ollie, and I don't know if Pakaz can actually finish off. The second Chronosphere comes onto 2 heroes, blocking off the path for Q to get back to his home. Pugna bought back and died immediately. Now the focus is on this Terrorblade. He's going to get stun locked and brought down. He does have buyback, but okay, they get the Void inside the fountain, but able to time walk away.
He is so
23 Savage bought back.
Tanky on Void.
He does not have meta, though. We'll see how much he can actually do here. Z-Smile's completely out of mana. Okay, the nice Sinister Gaze to stop the combo, and the lasso to follow it up. Jabs in the middle of nowhere, gets off the skewer, will connect on the C-Smile. Pakaz jumps in to try to finish off Jabs in the meantime. 23 Savage, he's getting a bit low, has to be careful, might need to sidestep, gets off the Sunder. Pakaz just time walks it away, on top of Q now, but there's the, okay, he's gonna use, Jabs can't get the opening at all. He cannot get these clean combos with the Harpoon. For the rest of EG, focusing now on the second set of barracks, knowing that this Pugna cannot buy back. Obviously still have to be a bit careful because these skewers can definitely be an issue if properly executed. So 2 sets of racks for EG, and they're gonna back away. And we can see that Roche has now spawned, and they should know that Roche is up now.
Yeah, it spawned quite a while ago, right? This is a 100% guaranteed spawn. Okay.
Initiation, okay.
Find the Rubik.
Yeah, they find something finally. 90 seconds of no Rubik is, we'll see how big of a deal that ends up being.
I mean, ideally, if you're Talon, you want to try to force a fight when RP is up and Chrono number 2 isn't, because obviously Void used the Refresher Orb in that fight. I think every fight you take now as Talon is stupidly hard against the 2 RPs. They're going to try for the assassination here.
But Whisper with the counter initiation onto Jabs, and now Pakaz focusing on him. The fear from the outline, 23 Savage able to control just a bit. But now the focus is on the C-Smile as 23 Savage runs away. Whisper, it's a 1v1 battle between him and Makoto, but Pakaz, he wants to try to counteract that.
No
we have the vision for Makoto, no. So no kills in that little mini engagement. Very tense here.
RP is now online.
Yep, Pakaz, he's showing himself. Jabs, he wants the opening, but he's going to be stuck inside that pit. Okay, gets off the skewer, nullifier, a lot of damage being applied by the Terrorblade, but Pakaz has the Chronosphere onto 3. Again, the heals come out, but it's not going to be enough. Pakaz just destroys everybody. Will-O-Wisp a little bit too slow there, and the rest of Talon have to back away. And with this, EG, they can just get this next Roche.
I mean, he was serving himself up on a platter there. He was literally just saying, come at me. He wanted them to do that. He wanted to set up that RP. It was clearly a bait. And Talon, out of pure desperation, really try to kill him, but they just don't have enough damage. You see this combo here. They get this RP with Terrorblade, able to hit more or less the entire time. It's just not enough. Pakaz gets the Chrono off, and this fight's over the moment he presses that button.
So very good fight for EG. Aegis now on Pakaz, and he has the Ags as well that drop from Roche, and that one's not too shabby. Every time you time lock, it will stun everybody in the area. Pretty good, especially when it doesn't take up a slot.
Yeah, he has some good net worth. What do you think?
Yeah.
When is it becomes bugged post-game? I think that's been fixed.
For what? Oh, when it's...
Your net worth,
I think
what's
it
it
was
called?
like above
Overflows.
60 or something. It was something around there.
Integer overflow.
Yeah,
like
you're
50-something
having an
K.
integer
He might
overflow
not
right
reach
now.
that time if this push ends the game. 30 seconds on Terrorblade. This should be megas unless Talon can do some serious staggering tactics here. Stalling them out.
Scary. Level 29, Faceless Void. Now just focusing on the barracks. And I think you're right, Talon might just have to give this up and try to defend against megas, but with the Aegis and Cheese on the side of EG, this is going to be very, very tough. The tier 4 falls because it was very low from the beginning, basically. As Jabs looking for the opening, but not able to find the skewer. That is what they need, something big into the fountain. But now the last tier 4 goes down. EG can try to focus down the racks. Will-O-Wisp is going to delay it just a little bit. As now the Ancient getting hit a bit. Jabs with a nice skewer onto 2. The RP to follow, but they're not in the fountain quite yet. They get bounced back just a little bit, and that's going to be the death of C-Smile. He buys back into the game. Makoto now trying to focus on the supports on the backline. Eon this does proc. Makoto has to kind of re-engage here. There's the double lasso, but that's on an illusion. Doesn't matter. As long as the Terrorblade is one of them, that's all you need. The Chronosphere to follow now. No Terrorblade at all. Should be the end of this game. A second Chronosphere to come. Do they have the damage? Absolutely. EG absolutely crushing mid-game and thereon as they will take game number 1.
What a great game from EG. I mean, and also a solid game from Talon. They just run into a wall at some point. They run out of damage for this Faceless Void. He becomes too big. You give this Void Glimmer, you give him the Frost Shield, you send him in there, you bait them out, you force the big spells, and ultimately just got too big. Had the Empower for a little bit this game, for a little bit extra ramp up. His Midas pays off.
I
And
wish
the
we
mid
could look
Underlord,
at a
even
stat
though,
for how much gold they got because, like how fast he farmed because of the Empowers.
yeah, I think they had it for a good, I want to say 4 or 5 minutes when it was a slowed down state of the game. So that definitely helped them out. Yeah, and they just reached their item timings. And despite Whisper having a bit of a rough start, they brought him back with a couple of kills. He ends the game 10, 9, and 14. Found a lot of good lassos to set things up. And the entire cast around this dire lineup, it's kind of fascinating about a player like C-Smile. He's known for like playing this high risk, high reward, popping off or having a little bit of facepalm moments here or there. But this game, he's just playing a very slow and stable hero in Underlord. Prislock has an
Those
insane
items are not
hero
active,
pool.
by the way. Just throwing 23 Savage did have items at the end of this game.
Oh, they all tilted.
So, yeah, that's game number 1 going the way of EG. Let's see what the panel has to say about this one.
Thank you, Shannon. What a terrific game, guys. That was something. I thought it was really even until a little bit in, and then all of a sudden...
Until this moment, right here on the screen.
EG just absolutely turned this game around. What a Chronosphere, what a performance from Pakaj on this Void.
That moment was so sad because they used the Hex, but also used the RP on top of the Hex. They kind of ran out of lockdown for the Faceless Void without having enough damage to kill him in the stun duration that they did have. So it was like so sad. I think maybe they got a little bit too ahead of themselves, like kind of reaching a little bit too far to get the catch on him when everyone wasn't quite in position, and then everyone's just clumped up and makes for that big Chronosphere.
There were a couple of Chronospheres, Jenkins, early on in that game where the Chrono went down, nobody died, and you kind of think, ooh, Void can't kill anyone in Chrono. And then all of a sudden there comes a moment where a game switches and suddenly Void can kill people in Chrono.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I thought this going into the series that Ollie is a very underrated player on Talon. You know, he's playing a lot of Warlock, a lot of Tree, kind of boring stuff on the...